When are you going to stop waiting? When are you finally going to stop telling yourself, I'll start tomorrow, I'll do it when the time is right, I'm just waiting for my big break? You've been waiting your whole life for an opportunity that's never coming if you don't move. The truth is, there is no perfect time. There's no magical moment when the stars align, when the world suddenly says, now is your time. The moment you decide to stop waiting and start working, that's your opportunity. You keep thinking success is a door you need to knock on. But in reality, success is a door you got to build yourself. You've been sitting on talent, sitting on dreams, sitting on ideas that could change your life, but you keep waiting for someone to notice. You keep scrolling through social media, looking at other people living their dreams, and you think they got lucky. They didn't get lucky. They got up. They stopped waiting. They worked when nobody believed in them, when nobody was watching. While you were sleeping, they were grinding. While you were planning, they were producing. While you were dreaming about it, they were doing it. You've been praying for open doors, but you're not ready to walk through them because you haven't built the strength, the discipline, or the courage to move. You keep saying, I just need a chance. But how are you going to handle a chance if you can't handle consistency? You keep waiting for God, but God's been waiting for you. He already gave you the gift. He already gave you the opportunity. It's called aiming at life where you woke up this morning. What more do you need? Every breath you take is proof that your opportunity is already here. Stop waiting for something outside of you to change and start working on what's inside of you. I remember sleeping in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans, and still believing I could make something out of my life. I wasn't waiting for a miracle. I became my own miracle. I wasn't waiting for someone to rescue me. I became my own rescue. Some of you are waiting for motivation, waiting for inspiration, waiting for somebody to push you. Nobody's coming. You've got to push yourself. The most dangerous thing you can do is wait, because the more you wait, the weaker your will gets. The longer you delay, the further your dreams drift away. Every day you wait, someone else is out there grinding for what you want. Every day you hesitate, somebody else is building their empire while you're still thinking about yours. You say you want success, but you don't act like it. You say you want legacy, but you're waiting for permission. Listen to me. You don't need permission to be great. You don't need approval to chase your purpose. You just need action. You just need to start. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be big. Just start where you are with what you have right now. People tell me all the time, E.T., I'm just waiting for the right resources. No, you don't need more resources. You need more, with a resourcefulness. You think the people at the top had it all figured out from day one? No, they learned on the way up. They started messy, they started scared, they started broke, but they started. You've got to stop waiting until it's easy. It's never going to be easy. The only way it gets easier is if you get stronger. And the only way you get stronger is by moving, by working, by showing up, by doing something every single day. Stop telling yourself lies like, I'll start when I have more time. You won't. You've had the same 24 hours as everyone else. The difference is how you use them. You can't keep blaming your environment, your past, your circumstances. You can't keep saying, it's not fair. Life's not fair. But guess what? Life's still yours. What are you doing with it? Are you waiting or are you working? Some of you are so afraid to fail that you've never even tried. You're waiting for a guarantee that doesn't exist. You want to know for sure that you'll win before you play. That's not how greatness works. The greatest people on this planet, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders, they failed more times than most people even tried. Failure isn't the opposite of opportunity. It's the price you pay to earn one. You learn, you adjust, you grow, and you keep moving. Every step forward, no matter how small, takes you closer to your legacy. You keep saying, if I just had an opportunity like them. But let me tell you something. The opportunity is not in the moment. It's in the mindset. The moment doesn't make the man. The man makes the moment. If I dropped you into your dream job right now, would you be ready for it? If I gave you the platform, the spotlight, the audience you've been praying for, could you handle it? Because opportunity without preparation is just wasted potential. That's why you've got to stop waiting and start working right before it comes. You've got to be so focused on growth that when opportunity finally arrives, you're already ready. You've got to be so committed that when the door opens, you don't hesitate. You walk through it like you belong there. And you belong there, but you'll never get there if you keep standing still. You'll never see your legacy if you keep watching everyone else build theirs. You're sitting on greatness, But greatness means nothing if it's never activated. Every morning you wake up, that's another chance to work on your dream. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. You've got to wake up with a sense of urgency. The clock is ticking and your time is limited. There are people out there waiting for the gift you've been hiding. There are lives you could be changing, but they'll never be touched if you keep waiting for perfect timing. You're not just wasting your time, you're wasting their hope. Stop waiting for the world to recognize you. Make the world remember you. Don't wait for the spotlight. Build your own light. You were born with purpose, and that purpose becomes your opportunity the moment you start walking in it. But purpose without work is just potential. You've got dreams, yes. You've got goals, yes. But dreams die in waiting rooms. Goals fade in hesitation. Success grows in motion. You've got to act like your life depends on it. Because it does. You've got to grind like time is running out. Because it is. You've got to fight like you've already been chosen. Because you have. The difference between winners and watchers is simple. Winners act, watchers wait. Winners take risks, watchers make excuses. Winners create opportunities. Watchers complain about not having them. Some of you are waiting for motivation, but motivation only comes after movement. You've got to start before you feel ready. You've got to move even when you're scared. You've got to take that first step, even if it's shaky, because once you move, momentum builds. Once you start, everything begins to shift. You'll start to see doors open that you never noticed before, because movement attracts opportunity. Faith without works is dead, and dreams without effort are too. I want you to think about how many people have died with dreams still inside them because they waited. They waited for the right time, for the right people, for the right chance, and it never came. Don't be one of them. Don't let your story end with almost. Don't let your name be forgotten because you were too afraid to begin. The world doesn't remember those who waited. It remembers those who acted. You've got one life, one shot. And every day you spend waiting is a day you'll never get back. So stop waiting for someone to call your name. Stop waiting for things to be perfect. Stop waiting for opportunity. Get up, start working, build your legacy now. Because the moment you stop waiting and start working, that's when your opportunity begins. You've got to stop walking around like somebody owes you something. The world doesn't owe you a thing. Life doesn't owe you a thing. You keep waiting for a handout, waiting for somebody to notice your pain, waiting for somebody to feel sorry for you. And that's why you're stuck. You're waiting for sympathy when you should be searching for strength. You're waiting for someone to give you a chance when you could be creating your own. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to hand you your dream wrapped in a bow. Everything you want, everything you've prayed for, everything you've cried about, it's going to require you to work, to sacrifice, to fight for it. You've got this idea in your head that because you've struggled, because you've been through pain, because you've suffered, life should give you a break. But that's not how it works. Life doesn't give breaks. It gives tests, and those tests will show you what you're made of. You can either keep complaining about what's not fair, or you can use the pain as fuel to push harder. Because truth be told, the world doesn't care about your excuses. The world doesn't care about your tears. The world only respects results. You can cry all you want about how hard it is, but tears don't move mountains, grind does. The problem is too many people want the reward without the responsibility. You want success, but you don't want sacrifice. You want greatness, but you don't want grind. You want respect, but you haven't earned it. You think because you showed up, life should hand you the victory. It doesn't work like that. The world gives to those who give first. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you work for. I know what it feels like to be overlooked, to be forgotten, to be told you'll never make it. I remember sleeping on floors, being homeless, hearing people laugh when I said I was going to change my life. But guess what? Nobody cared about my situation until I did. Nobody came to rescue me. Nobody showed up with a plan. The moment everything changed was when I stopped waiting for the world to give me something and decided to take responsibility for my own destiny. I stopped saying why? Me? And started saying try me. You've got to get that mindset. You've got to wake up every day and tell yourself, I don't expect anything from the world, but I'm going to give everything to it. That's how champions are made. You think Michael Jordan waited for someone to hand him greatness? You think Kobe Bryant got a special pass? No, they worked, they sacrificed, they out-hustled everybody else. They didn't expect life to be fair. They just decided to dominate no matter what. You can't walk around entitled and expect to succeed. The universe doesn't reward entitlement, it rewards effort. The reason some of you haven't reached your potential is because you're still blaming. You're blaming your parents, your teachers, your boss, your city, your past. You keep pointing fingers at everything around you instead of taking ownership of what's inside you. You keep saying they didn't help me. But maybe they weren't supposed to. Maybe the struggle is the help. Maybe the obstacles were there to build you, not break you. I know you've been through pain. I know life hasn't been easy, but you've got to understand pain isn't punishment. It's preparation. Every hardship you face was shaping you for the life you're meant to live. You can sit in self-pity or you can stand in your power, but you can't do both. You can't wait for the world to hand you success when you're not willing to fight for it. Nobody owes you an education. You've got to learn. Nobody owes you respect. You've got to earn it. Nobody owes you love. You've got to give it. Nobody owes you greatness. You've got to build it. Some of you have been waiting for life to be fair before you start giving your best. Let me help you. It will never be fair. Some people are born with advantages you'll never have. Some people have connections, money, support, and opportunity you can only dream of. But that's not an excuse, because every person you admire started from somewhere, and a lot of them started with nothing. The difference is they didn't waste time complaining about what they didn't have. They used what they did have. They worked with what was in their hands until they created something the world couldn't ignore. You've got to take that same energy. You got to stop waiting for fairness and start focusing on faithfulness. Faithfulness to your grind, to your vision, to your goals. If you stay consistent long enough, life will eventually pay you what you're worth. But you can't cash in on work you never did. You can't demand respect you haven't earned. You can't expect harvest when you never planted any seed. The world owes you nothing, but it will reward your grind every single time. There's a difference between wanting something and being willing to do what it takes to get it. Too many people want success, but refuse to take responsibility for their life. They want opportunity, but won't prepare. They want blessings, but won't obey the process. You've got to stop expecting easy. You've got to stop expecting things to just fall into place. You've got to stop expecting someone else to care more about your dream than you do. Every time I got knocked down, I had two choices: stay down and blame the world, or get up and prove I didn't need it to be fair. I chose to get up. And every time you get up, you build something the world can't take away: character, resilience, hunger. Those things matter more than any opportunity someone could ever hand you. You see, when you build yourself, you become unstoppable. When you take ownership, you stop waiting for the world to give you power, because you realize you already had it inside you the whole time. People say to me all the time, E.T., life's not fair. And I tell them, good. It's not supposed to be. If life were fair, you'd never grow. If life were easy, you'd never evolve. Fairness makes people lazy. Pressure makes diamonds. Hardship makes heroes. Pain makes purpose. Stop wishing for easy and start working for strong. Because when you get strong, you don't need life to be fair. You just need one more chance to show what you can do. You've got to get out of that mindset that says somebody owes me because I've suffered. No, you owe it to yourself to turn that suffering into success. You owe it to your future to grind today. You owe it to your legacy to keep pushing even when nobody claps. Stop chasing sympathy. Sympathy won't pay the bills. Sympathy won't build a legacy. Sympathy won't make your dreams come true. Action will. Focus will. Discipline will. Every minute you spend complaining is a minute you could have spent creating. Every moment you spend feeling sorry for yourself is a moment you could have used to work on your craft. You keep saying you want opportunity, then create it. You keep saying you want respect, then earn it. You keep saying you want success, then grind for it. Life is not waiting for you to get ready. Life is moving, and if you don't move with it, it's going to leave you behind. You've got to stop letting pain be your excuse and start letting it be your power. The world doesn't owe you a comfortable life. It doesn't owe you a job, a house, a relationship, or a dream. But it will give you something. It will give you a chance. And what you do with that chance is up to you. You can waste it by waiting, or you can use it by working. Every day you wake up, that's life's payment to you. But how you spend it, that's your responsibility. When you finally understand that nobody owes you anything, that's when you become free. Free to create, free to grow, free to fail, free to rise again. You stop expecting and start executing. You stop complaining and start creating. You stop begging for opportunities and start becoming the kind of person opportunities chase. That's when everything changes. That's when doors start opening. Not because the world suddenly cares, but because you built something so strong that it can't be ignored. You've got to decide right now that you're done waiting for life to be fair. You're done waiting for somebody to believe in you. You're done waiting for handouts. You're going to take what's yours, not through entitlement, but through effort. You're going to earn it, grind for it, bleed for it. And when you finally get it, you'll appreciate it because you know you built it. The world doesn't owe you anything, but you owe the world your best. You owe your dream everything you've got. You owe your gift the work it deserves. So stop expecting, stop waiting, stop blaming, and start building. Because once you take responsibility for your life, you become unstoppable. Once you realize the world owes you nothing, you'll finally understand that you already have everything you need. Everybody wants greatness, but nobody wants the pain that comes with it. You say you want to be successful. You say you want to build a legacy. You say you want to live your dream. But the moment life hits you, the moment it gets uncomfortable, the moment it hurts, you start backing up. You start questioning if it's worth it. You start asking, why me? And I'm telling you, that's the wrong question. The real question is, why not me? Why shouldn't I go through pain? Why shouldn't I be tested? Why shouldn't I be refined? Because greatness doesn't come from comfort. It comes from the fire. You've got to understand, pain isn't your enemy. Pain is your teacher. Pain is the toll you pay on the road to success. You don't get to greatness without scars. You don't get to legacy without losses. You can't expect to rise if you're not willing to fall. The people you admire, the ones who inspire you, they didn't just wake up great. They were built in the dark through years of rejection, disappointment, sacrifice, and struggle. They were built when nobody was watching, when nobody clapped, when nobody cared. You see, pain has a purpose. Pain shows up to see how bad you really want it. Everybody looks motivated when it's easy. Everybody looks focused when it's fun. But pain separates the interested from the committed. When it hurts, when it's hard, when you feel like quitting, that's when you find out who you really are. You can talk about grind all day, but pain is the test that proves it. You can't skip this part. You can't shortcut your way around pain. Because pain gives you perspective. Pain teaches you patience. Pain builds resilience. Pain introduces you to your real self. You don't know how strong you are until you've been broken. You don't know how focused you are until you've been distracted. You don't know how disciplined you are until everything in you wants to quit, but you don't. I remember when I was homeless, when I was broke, when I was lost. Every night I slept on cold floors. Every morning I woke up not knowing where my next meal was coming from. And I could have quit. I could have blamed the world. I could have said, it's too hard. But I realized that pain was producing something in me that comfort never could. Pain made me hungry. Pain made me grateful. Pain made me unstoppable. Without it, I wouldn't be the man you see today. You want success, but you don't want to suffer for it. You want greatness, but you want it on discount. You want legacy, but you want it pain-free. It doesn't work that way. The pain is the process. The pain is the preparation. Every tear, every rejection, every lonely night, every failure, it's shaping you into who you're supposed to become. That's the cost. You can't cheat the process and still expect the prize. When you see somebody at the top of their game, don't just admire their success, respect their pain. Because behind every trophy, behind every victory, behind every highlight, there's a story of struggle you'll never see. There are nights they cried. There are days they wanted to quit. There are sacrifices they made that nobody will ever understand. But they paid the price. And that's why they're standing where they are. Pain is a currency and greatness is expensive. You've got to be willing to pay in full. You can't give half effort and expect full results. You can't avoid pain and still grow. The gym hurts before it builds muscle. The grind hurts before it gives results. The discipline hurts before it shows rewards. Everything worth having will first demand your pain. That's the universe's way of asking, do you really want it? The truth is, most people quit because of temporary pain. They can't see past the struggle. They give up in the storm, not realizing the rain is what grows the seed. You can't build character without conflict. You can't develop endurance without resistance. You can't become a warrior without battle. Pain is what separates the talkers from the doers, the dreamers from the achievers, the weak from the strong. Some of you are running from pain when you should be running through it. You think avoiding it will make life easier, but avoiding pain only makes you weaker. Every time you take the easy route, you rob yourself of the strength the hard route could have given you. Pain is like the weight in the gym. It's heavy, it hurts, but it's the only way to grow. If you want to be great, you've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. The reason pain feels unbearable sometimes is because it's stretching you into a new version of yourself. The old you can't handle the level you're asking for. The old you doesn't have the capacity for greatness. So life applies pressure to break what's weak and strengthen what's strong. You keep asking for blessings, but blessings require bandwidth. Pain expands your bandwidth. It teaches you how to endure. It teaches you how to focus. It teaches you how to keep showing up when it doesn't feel good. There were moments in my life when I wanted to give up, when it felt like everything was against me, but every single time pain gave me a choice, quit or grow. And every time I chose to grow, I came out stronger, wiser, hungrier. I came out closer to my destiny. You can't pray for growth and run from pain at the same time. They're the same thing. Pain is the tool God uses to develop your potential. Stop looking at pain like punishment. It's not punishment, it's preparation. When life hurts, it's not trying to destroy you, it's trying to develop you. You're being refined, not rejected. You're being molded, not mistreated. Every trial you face is proof that you're being trusted with more. The pain you feel today is producing the strength you'll need tomorrow, but only if you stay in the fight long enough to learn what it's trying to teach you. You've got to embrace it. You've got to tell yourself, this hurts, but it's necessary. This is breaking me, but it's building me. You've got to stop asking, when will this end? And start asking, what is this teaching me? Because when you start to see pain as purpose, everything changes. You stop resenting the process and start respecting it. You stop crying over what's lost and start grinding for what's next. Some of you are trying to escape pain with comfort. You numb yourself with distractions, entertainment, laziness, excuses. You hide behind comfort zones that keep you small. But comfort zones are where dreams go to die. If you're not in some kind of pain, you're not growing. If you're not being stretched, you're staying the same. And if you're staying the same, you're not becoming great. You can't build a legacy in a comfort zone. You've got to be willing to get uncomfortable, to go through the fire, to face the struggle head on. When it hurts, don't stop. That's when you're being tested. That's when life is asking, how much do you really want it? When it feels impossible, that's when you're closest to the breakthrough. Every champion, every leader, every visionary has had that moment, the breaking point where pain screamed, quit. And they said, not today. That's what separates the successful from the average. The average person stops when it hurts. The great one keeps going despite the hurt. You can't expect glory without the grind. You can't ask for destiny without difficulty. You've got to pay your dues. And the price tag says pain. The more you endure, the more you evolve. The more you push through, the more powerful you become. Pain is temporary, but greatness is eternal. The pain you feel today will fade, but the pride of what you build will last forever. When you're in pain, remind yourself, this is not punishment. This is progress. This is the process of becoming who you said you wanted to be. You don't get to skip the struggle and still hold the trophy. So stop running from it. Feel it, face it, fight through it. Because on the other side of pain is purpose. On the other side of pain is power. On the other side of pain is greatness. Everybody wants to get rich. Everybody wants the cars, the houses, the lifestyle. You scroll through your feed and you see people showing off what they have and you start thinking, that's what I want. But let me tell you something. If money is your only motivation, you will never be fulfilled because money runs out. Status fades. Things break. You can have a pocket full of cash and still feel empty. You can have followers, fame, and success and still wake up every morning feeling lost. That's because you were created for something deeper than money. You were created for purpose. You see, money can buy comfort, but it can't buy contentment. It can buy a bed, but it can't buy sleep. It can buy medicine, but it can't buy health. It can buy followers, but it can't buy genuine respect. The problem with chasing money is that it keeps you running in circles. You'll never have enough because the moment you get some, you'll want more. And that chase will drain your soul. You'll start sacrificing your peace for paychecks, your morals for milestones, and your passion for profit. When you chase purpose, everything changes. Purpose gives your pain meaning. Purpose gives your work value. Purpose makes you get up in the morning when there's no applause, no money, no recognition. Because you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for something bigger. The people who make the most lasting impact in this world aren't the ones who chase money. They're the ones who chase purpose, because purpose attracts prosperity. When you live in your calling, when you serve through your gift, the world rewards you, not just financially, but spiritually, emotionally, and eternally. I've met people who had nothing, no money, no fame, no platform, but they had peace. They had joy. They had purpose. And I've met people who had everything the world says you should want: the cars, the mansions, the brand names, and they were miserable. You know why? Because success without purpose is failure in disguise. You can't fill a spiritual void with material things. You can't buy meaning. You can't buy fulfillment. The only way to feel whole is to live the life you were created for. When I was homeless, I didn't have money, but I had purpose. I knew deep down that my life meant something. I knew I wasn't born just to survive. I was born to serve. And that belief kept me going when I had nothing. That purpose pushed me when pain tried to break me. Purpose made me get up when I had no reason to get up. I didn't chase money. I chased impact. I didn't chase wealth. I chased growth. And eventually, when I started walking in purpose, everything else followed. The money came. The opportunities came. The platform came. But they came as a result of purpose, not the goal of it. You've got to shift your mindset. Stop asking, how can I make money? And start asking, how can I make a difference? Because when you make a difference, the money follows. When you bring value to people's lives, when you help others solve problems, when you serve instead of take, you'll never have to chase anything. Purpose doesn't chase opportunity. Purpose creates it. The reason some of you are frustrated is because you're chasing the wrong thing. You keep running after money, but money doesn't run towards you because it's not attracted to greed. It's attracted to value. You've got to build something inside of you that's worth paying for. You've got to work on your gift until it becomes undeniable. You've got to master your craft until your name carries weight. Money is a magnet, but it only sticks to purpose when you know your why. You can handle any how. When you have purpose, you can push through pain, rejection, setbacks, and long nights, because purpose gives you power. It gives you direction. It gives you energy that money can't give. Money can buy motivation for a moment, but purpose gives you drive for a lifetime. Money fades when it gets hard, but purpose fights back. That's why some of you burn out, because you're chasing the paycheck instead of the passion. You're grinding for the wrong reason. You're running on empty because your fuel isn't purpose, it's pressure. You've got to ask yourself, why do I do what I do? If the only answer is money, that's why you're tired. That's why you're frustrated. That's why you keep hitting walls. You're trying to fill a hole that money can't fill. You think more zeros in your bank account will make you feel better, but what you need is more meaning in your life. You need to get back to why you started in the first place. When I started speaking, I didn't make a dime. I was speaking for free in schools, churches, and shelters. People told me I was wasting my time. But I knew this was what I was born to do. I wasn't chasing a paycheck. I was chasing purpose. And that purpose eventually led me to places money could never take me. I got to change lives. I got to inspire the broken. I got to help people believe in themselves again. That's what fills me. That's what drives me. And because I chased that, the money came, but it was never the mission. When you chase money, you'll compromise your character. You'll start doing things you don't believe in just to get paid. You'll start selling out your values for validation. But when you chase purpose, you protect your soul. You know who you are, and no amount of money can buy your integrity. The richest people in the world aren't those with the most money. They're the ones who wake up knowing they're doing what they were put here to do. That's true wealth. Stop trying to impress people with what you have. Start inspiring people with who you are. Legacy isn't about what you accumulate. It's about what you contribute. The world doesn't need more people chasing checks. It needs more people chasing change. You've got something inside you that can help somebody. That's your purpose. And when you start living it, everything shifts. You start walking different. You start talking different. You stop comparing yourself to everybody else because you realize your race is different. When you chase money, your motivation comes and goes. But when you chase purpose, your fire never dies. You'll keep going when it's dark, when it's lonely, when nobody believes in you, because you're not doing it for approval. You're doing it out of assignment. That's what makes you unstoppable. Money might make you move, but purpose makes you powerful. I'm telling you right now, stop letting money be your master. Use it as a tool, not a target. Because if you serve money, you'll always be a slave. But if you serve purpose, money will serve you. The moment you align your life with purpose, doors will open that no amount of hustling could have opened. The universe rewards alignment. God blesses intention. When your focus is right, your results follow. You've got to be willing to turn down the quick money for the long-term mission. You've got to be willing to do what's right, even when it's not profitable, because purpose pays in peace, and peace is priceless. You can't buy peace. You can't fake fulfillment. You can't rent happiness. You've got to earn it through purpose. So many people are rich in their pockets, but poor in their spirit. Don't let that be you. Don't trade your gift for gold. Don't sell your soul for status. Use your purpose to make an impact. And the rewards will come, not just in money, but in meaning. When you die, nobody's going to care how much you made. They're going to remember how much you mattered. Every great person you admire, every legend, every leader, they all had one thing in common: purpose. They didn't wake up chasing checks. They woke up chasing change. Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, these people weren't driven by money. They were driven by mission. And that's why we still speak their names. Purpose builds legacy. You've got to find your why. You've got to ask yourself, what would I do even if I didn't get paid for it? That's purpose. And once you find it, protect it, feed it, build around it. Because once you lock into it, you'll never have to chase money again. The opportunities will chase you. The world will start to move in your favor. It's when you live with purpose, you move in power. So stop letting your bank account define your value. Stop letting the dollar decide your direction. Your purpose is worth more than any paycheck. Your gift is greater than any job title. You weren't born to make a living. You were born to make a difference. And when you make a difference, everything you've been chasing will start chasing you. When I say work on your craft every single day, I mean every single day, not when you feel like it, not when it's convenient, not when everything lines up perfectly. Every day means every day. That's the mindset of a champion. That's the difference between being good and being great. That's the difference between being remembered and being forgotten. You see, people love to talk about success, but they don't want to commit to the grind that success demands. Everybody wants to shine, but nobody wants to polish. Everybody wants the spotlight, but few are willing to stand in the dark and do the work when no one's clapping. The truth is, mastery doesn't happen overnight. You can't microwave greatness. You can't wish your way to excellence. You've got to work your way there. Every time you wake up, you're either getting closer to your dream or drifting further away. Every repetition counts. Every hour matters. You can't skip the process. You can't cheat the grind. The grind knows who's been working. The grind knows who's faking. And the grind will expose you if you're not real about it. You've got to treat your craft like it's your oxygen, because without it, you can't breathe purpose. Whatever it is you do, speaking, writing, designing, teaching, creating, leading, you've got to give it everything. You've got to study it, practice it, live it. You've got to eat, sleep, and breathe it. Because if you don't, someone else will. There's always somebody out there putting in the hours, working in silence while you're resting in comfort. And one day, that same person will outwork you, outshine you, and outlast you, not because they're better, but because they're consistent. Consistency beats talent every single time. I've seen people with all the potential in the world fail because they couldn't stay committed. And I've seen people with average skill dominate because they refuse to quit. Talent gets you in the door, but work keeps you in the room. Talent is a gift, but hard work is a choice. Every day you choose to show up. Every day you choose to push through excuses. Every day you choose to keep grinding, even when it hurts. That's when greatness is born. When you look at the greats, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Serena Williams, Eric Thomas, Steve Jobs, they didn't just stumble into success. They obsessed over their craft. They practiced longer than everyone else. They studied harder. They pushed their limits. They didn't just do what was required. They did more. Because when you want to be the best, the bare minimum isn't enough. You've got to give more than what's expected. You've got to outwork the version of you from yesterday. You've got to look in the mirror and ask yourself, did I give everything today? Some of you keep saying you want it, but your work ethic doesn't match your words. You keep saying you're hungry, but you're not doing what hungry people do. When you're hungry, you don't wait to be fed. You hunt. You don't wait for motivation. You create it. You don't complain about time. You make time. You don't take days off. You take advantage of every day. You've got to grind until your signature becomes an autograph. You've got to grind until people study your moves. You've got to grind until excellence becomes your normal. When you work on your craft every day, you start to see results that others can't see. You start to feel momentum building. You start to grow in ways that shock even you. But it doesn't happen in one big moment. It happens in 1,000 small ones. It's in the late nights when everyone's asleep. It's in the early mornings when nobody's watching. It's in the mistakes you learn from and the days you push through fatigue. Greatness is built in the invisible hours. The world only sees the highlights, but the highlights are made in the grind. There are no shortcuts. Every shortcut you take robs you of strength. Every time you skip the process, you weaken your foundation. You can't rush excellence. You've got to respect the journey. You've got to learn, fail, fall, and rise again, because every failure teaches you something that comfort never will. Every challenge sharpens your edge. Every obstacle strengthens your resolve. You've got to fall in love with the process more than the product. You can't keep talking about what you're going to do. You've got to do it. You've got to put in reps. You've got to put in hours. You've got to do it until it becomes second nature. And when you think you've mastered it, you've got to start over and go even deeper, because mastery isn't a destination. It's a mindset. You don't arrive at greatness. You keep earning it every day. Some people wait for inspiration. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect mood, the perfect setup. But the perfect time never comes. The people who win are the ones who work even when it's messy, even when they're tired, even when it hurts. They don't wait to feel ready. They move anyway. You can't build momentum if you keep stopping every time it gets hard. You can't become elite if you only work when you're inspired. You've got to build discipline so strong that your feelings don't control your actions. You've got to train your mind like an athlete trains their body. You've got to build mental muscle, because there will be days when you don't want to show up. There will be days when your body says no, your mind says quit, and your spirit says I can't. But that's when you've got to dig deeper. That's when you've got to remember why you started. That's when you've got to remind yourself, this is the price of greatness. When you're working on your craft every day, you're not just getting better at what you do. You're becoming someone new. You're becoming sharper, stronger, wiser. You're becoming disciplined. And discipline builds destiny. The habits you practice daily determine the future you live tomorrow. You can't expect a champion's result with a casual effort. You can't expect a legacy when you're living in laziness. Legacy requires labor. Sometimes people ask me, E.T., when do you rest? And I tell them, when I'm done. You can rest when your purpose is fulfilled. You can rest when your legacy is built. Until then, you've got to keep going. Because while you're sleeping, the competition is training. While you're relaxing, somebody else is mastering what you're neglecting. And one day when it's time to perform, you'll see the difference. You can't fake preparation. You can't fake skill. When it's game time, your performance will. Expose your practice. You'll either rise to your training level or fall to your excuses. So train like every opportunity depends on it, because it does. The doors you dream of walking through require a level of excellence you haven't reached yet. So instead of asking for opportunities, prepare for them. Work on your craft so hard that when the opportunity knocks, you're ready. You've got to treat every day like it's a chance to sharpen your edge. Every day you skip is a day someone else is grinding. You got to want it bad enough to do the boring stuff, the unseen stuff, the repetitive stuff, because that's what champions do. Champions don't complain, they commit. They don't make excuses, they make progress. They don't chase comfort, they chase growth. Every hour you spend perfecting your craft is an investment in your future. Every ounce of effort compounds over time. You might not see the results today or tomorrow, but keep showing up. Because one day, all those hours will add up and people will call you lucky, but it won't be luck. It'll be consistency. Stop trying to skip the struggle. The struggle is what shapes you. The grind is what grows you. The repetition is what refines you. You've got to stay in the gym when everyone else leaves. You've got to study when everyone else parties. You've got to practice when nobody believes. You've got to keep your head down and your faith up. Because one day when the lights come on and it's your moment, all that hard work will speak for you. So don't just talk about your dream, train for it. Don't just imagine greatness, earn it. Don't wait for someone to validate your effort. Let your results speak. The world rewards those who show up daily, the ones who keep swinging, the ones who keep grinding, the ones who work on their craft every day, not for recognition, but because they can't imagine living any other way. Because that's what greatness is. Not a moment, but a lifestyle. Not an event, but a discipline. The ones who win are the ones who decide that their purpose deserves their best effort every single day. Failure. That word scares most people. It makes them freeze up, hesitate, and stop trying. But let me tell you something. Failure isn't your enemy. Failure is your greatest teacher. Every setback, every mistake, every disappointment is shaping you into the person you're meant to be. You've got to stop seeing failure as the end and start seeing it as a step, because every failure is feedback. Every time you fall, you learn something that success could never teach you. The problem isn't that people fail. The problem is that they quit after they fail. You've got to understand, every champion you admire has failed. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. The difference is they didn't let failure define them. They used it to refine them. Michael Jordan missed more than 9,000 shots in his career, lost almost 300 games, and missed 26 game-winning shots. But he said it himself. He succeeded because he failed. You see, failure only destroys the ones who fear it. For the ones who embrace it, it becomes a tool. Failure doesn't break you. It builds you. It molds your character, sharpens your mindset, and strengthens your resolve. When you fail, you find out what you're made of. When everything falls apart, when people walk away, when your plans crumble, that's when your true strength shows up. Failure strips away the fake. It exposes the truth about who you are. That's why some people never grow. They avoid failure so much that they avoid growth. You've got to stop playing it safe. You can't play small and expect big results. If you want to build something legendary, you've got to be willing to fail spectacularly. Every time you fall, you have two choices: stay down and complain, or get up and learn. The ones who make it, they don't let failure stop them. They let it stretch them. You've got to fail forward. That means every mistake moves you closer to mastery. Every no moves you closer to yes. Every loss teaches you how to win. Failure is not a full stop. It's a comma. It's not the end of your story. It's a plot twist. Most people fail once and give up because they think it means they're not good enough. But listen to me. Failure doesn't mean you're not good enough. It means you're trying to become better. You can't master anything without messing up first. You can't reach the top if you're afraid to climb. Nobody ever learned how to walk without falling. So why do you think you'll reach your destiny without stumbling? You've got to fall, get up, and keep moving. That's how you grow. That's how you evolve. That's how you win. When I was homeless, when I was sleeping in abandoned buildings, I had failed. I had dropped out of school. I had disappointed people who believed in me. But instead of letting that failure destroy me, I decided to learn from it. I decided to fail forward. I asked myself, what can I do differently next time? What did I miss? What lesson am I supposed to learn from this? I stopped blaming others and started taking responsibility, because that's what failure teaches you: ownership. The moment you stop pointing fingers and start looking in the mirror, you take control of your story. Some of you are stuck because you're still mad at your last failure. You're still replaying the mistake, still punishing yourself for what went wrong. But let me remind you, your past is a lesson, not a life sentence. You're not your failure. You're not your mistake. You're not your worst moment. You're the person who got up after it. You're the one who didn't quit. You're the one who said, I may have failed, but I'm not finished. That's what separates the average from the elite. The elite fall just as hard, but they rise faster. You've got to make peace with failure, because it's part of success. Success isn't a straight line. It's a series of falls and recoveries, mistakes and breakthroughs, losses and lessons. You can't avoid it. The sooner you learn to embrace it, the stronger you become. You've got to look at failure and say, thank you for teaching me. Because that pain, that disappointment, it's developing your patience. It's giving you wisdom. It's humbling your ego. It's preparing you for the next level. Think about it. If everything came easy, you'd never grow. If everything went according to plan, you'd never learn resilience. The struggle is necessary. The failure is necessary, because without it, you'd never appreciate the victory. Without it, you'd never understand what it means to fight for something. So instead of running from failure, start running toward it. Fail often, fail smart, fail forward. When you fail forward, you stop fearing judgment. You stop worrying about what people think. You stop letting the opinions of others dictate your movement. Because here's the truth. The people laughing at your failure aren't doing anything with their lives. The people mocking your mistakes are too afraid to take their own risks. So don't waste time defending yourself. Let your comeback speak for you. Let your persistence prove your worth. Every failure is a seed. And if you plant it with the right mindset, it will grow into wisdom. You've got to study your failures. Take notes, reflect, ask yourself what you could have done better. That's how you grow. You can't just fail and move on. You've got to fail and learn. The pain only pays off if you process it. Otherwise, you'll keep repeating the same mistakes. You've got to become a student of your setbacks. You've got to see failure as training, not tragedy. Every time you lose, you're learning what doesn't work. And every time you learn what doesn't work, you're one step closer to what does. That's what failing forward is. Turning pain into progress, turning losses into lessons, turning setbacks into setups for a comeback. Let me tell you something. The world doesn't reward people who never fail. It rewards those who never give up. The greatest inventions, the biggest companies, the most powerful movements, they were all built on a mountain of failures. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before creating the light bulb. Walt Disney was fired for lacking creativity. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television, but they all failed forward. They used every rejection, every disappointment, every no as motivation to keep going. You've got to have that same mindset. You've got to take your L's and turn them into lessons. Stop letting failure hurt your confidence. Let it build your character. Every time you fail, remind yourself that this is just part of the process. You're learning, you're improving. You're becoming the version of you that can handle success when it comes, because success without preparation destroys people, but failure prepares you for it. When you learn to fail forward, you become unstoppable because you lose the fear that holds most people back. You realize that failure can't destroy you. It can only develop you. And when you stop fearing failure, you start taking bigger risks. You start dreaming bigger, trying harder, pushing further. You start walking in faith instead of fear. You've got to train yourself to see failure differently. When something doesn't work out, don't ask, why did this happen to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? That question will change your life, because it turns failure into a teacher instead of a tragedy. It shifts your perspective from victim to victor. You start understanding that every setback is setting you up for something greater. The truth is, success is built on a foundation of failure. Every mistake you make adds a brick. Every time you fall and get back up, you're building your foundation stronger. The people who fail forward end up building something unshakable because they've been tested. They've been through storms and didn't quit. They've been broken and still believed. They've been counted out and came back anyway. That's legacy. You've got to stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop waiting until you figure it all out. Start now. Take action. Fail. Learn. Adjust. Repeat. That's how growth happens. You're not going to get it right the first time. You're not supposed to. But if you keep showing up, keep learning, keep failing forward, one day you'll look back and realize every failure was necessary. Every one of them led you here. So don't fear failure. Fear standing still. Fear never trying. Fear living a life where you never take a risk because you're too afraid of losing. Because the real failure isn't falling down. It's refusing to get up. The real failure is dying with potential still inside you. The real failure is never finding out what could have happened if you had just kept going. So go ahead and fall. Go ahead and fail. Go ahead and make mistakes, but do it moving forward. Do it with purpose. Do it with passion, because one day that failure will be the foundation of your legacy. One day people will look at your success and have no idea how many times you failed to get there, but you'll know. And you'll smile because you'll realize that failure wasn't your enemy. It was your greatest ally. Discipline. That's the word that separates the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the achievers, the starters from the finishers. Everybody loves motivation because it feels good. Motivation gets you hyped. It gets you started. It makes you believe for a moment that you can do anything. But the truth is, motivation fades. You can't build your legacy on feelings. You can't depend on motivation to get you to your goals, because motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Discipline is the engine that keeps you moving when the excitement dies. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. You see, motivation is like a spark. It lights the fire. But discipline is the wood that keeps that fire burning all night. Without discipline, your motivation burns out, and so does your dream. Everybody feels inspired at the beginning of a journey. You watch a video, you hear a speech, you write down your goals, and for a few days, you're on fire. But then life hits. The alarm goes off early. The workload piles up. The results don't come fast enough. And that's when motivation disappears. That's when most people quit. But discipline keeps you going when motivation dies. When you're disciplined, you don't ask yourself, do I feel like it? You just do it. You don't negotiate with your goals. You don't make excuses. You don't postpone greatness because it's inconvenient. You show up every single day because your purpose deserves consistency. Discipline is a decision, a daily commitment to excellence regardless of emotion. It's about showing up when nobody claps, working when nobody watches, and grinding when nobody believes. The reason most people never reach their full potential is because they depend on how they feel. But feelings are liars. Feelings will tell you to stay in bed when you should be working. Feelings will tell you to take a break when you should be pushing harder. Feelings will tell you to quit when you're just a few steps away from breakthrough. Discipline doesn't care about feelings. Discipline is obedience to your vision. It's sticking to your plan no matter how uncomfortable it gets. When I wake up in the morning, I don't rely on motivation. I rely on routine. I rely on habits. I rely on the structure I've built through discipline. Because discipline is freedom. It gives you control over your life. It gives you consistency when chaos hits. It gives you direction when distractions come. Discipline is what allows you to execute even when your emotions are all over the place. The greats, the legends, they all understand this. Muhammad Ali said, I hated every minute of training, but I said to myself, don't quit, suffer now, and live the rest of your life as a champion. That's discipline. Kobe Bryant didn't become great because he was always motivated. He became great because he was always committed. He showed up in the gym at 4 a.m., not because he felt like it, but because he made a promise to himself. That's the difference between the average and the elite. The average need to feel ready. The elite just get up and do it. Discipline doesn't mean you always feel powerful. In fact, discipline often feels boring. It's repetitive. It's unglamorous. But that's where growth happens. In the repetition, in the daily grind, in the unexciting work that compounds over time. People want to skip the boring part and still win big. But discipline says, I'll keep doing the boring things until they produce beautiful results. The discipline don't chase excitement, they chase progress. You've got to understand that discipline is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Every time you do something you don't feel like doing, you're training your mind. Every time you choose to stick to your plan instead of giving into distraction, you're building your mental strength. Every time you push through fatigue, you're teaching yourself how to finish. Discipline is built in small choices, repeated daily until they become automatic. Most people wait for motivation to start, but the truth is, action creates motivation. Once you start moving, once you start building momentum, the feeling follows. Discipline gets you started even when you're tired, and the results you get from that effort give you the motivation to keep going. That's the cycle. Discipline fuels results. Results fuel motivation. Motivation fades, but discipline sustains. There will be days when you don't want to show up anyway. There will be mornings when your body says, not today, get up anyway. There will be nights when you want to relax instead of prepare. Focus anyway. That's discipline. It's not glamorous, but it's powerful. Because every time you show up despite how you feel, you're strengthening your future self. You're building trust with yourself. You're proving that your word means something. Discipline means you keep your promises, especially the ones you make to yourself. Some of you are great at keeping your word to others, but constantly break it with yourself. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. You tell yourself you'll be consistent next week. You tell yourself you'll give your all when things settle down, but tomorrow never comes. Discipline says now. Discipline says no matter what. Discipline says if I said it, I'll do it. Because when you honor your word, you honor your potential. Discipline is the bridge between goals and results. It's what connects your dreams to reality. Everybody has dreams, but few have discipline. That's why most people talk about what they're going to do while a few are out there doing it. Talk is cheap. Action is everything. And discipline is the foundation of consistent action. You don't get to pick and choose when to be disciplined. It's an all-day, everyday thing. There are two kinds of pain in life, the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. Discipline is hard. It demands sacrifice. It asks you to say no to comfort, no to distraction, no to instant gratification. But regret is far worse. Regret is the pain of knowing you could have done more. You could have tried harder. You could have been great, but you didn't. And that pain lasts forever. Discipline might hurt today, but it heals you tomorrow. Regret feels easy now, but it will break you later. Discipline doesn't mean perfection. You'll slip, you'll make mistakes, you'll fall off track sometimes. But discipline means you don't stay down, you get back up, you adjust, you realign, you keep moving forward. Discipline isn't about never failing, it's about never quitting. You can rest, but you can't retreat. You can pause, but you can't stop. The more disciplined you are, the less you rely on luck. The more disciplined you are, the more predictable your success becomes. You start creating results instead of waiting for them. You stop wishing and start working. And when people see your success, they'll call it talent. They'll call it luck. But you'll know it was discipline, because discipline is invisible. People don't see the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices. They don't see the discipline. They just see the outcome. When you start living with discipline, you begin to take control of your destiny. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop hoping and start doing. You stop blaming the world and start mastering yourself. Because discipline isn't just about what you do. It's about who you become. It's about becoming someone who refuses to be controlled by emotion, circumstance, or excuses. It's about becoming unstoppable. If you ever feel stuck, if you ever feel lost, go back to discipline. Don't chase motivation, chase structure, set your alarm, stick to your plan, do the work. Discipline gives you clarity when your vision gets blurry. It gives you power when your energy runs low. It gives you focus when distractions are loud. Discipline is the foundation of every comeback story. People often ask, E.T., how do I stay motivated? And I tell them, you don't. You stay disciplined, because motivation will get you to the door, but discipline will take you through it. Motivation gets you started, but discipline finishes the race. Motivation will help you dream, but discipline will help you build. Motivation fades when it's hard. Discipline kicks in when it's hard. That's how you win. That's how you create a legacy. When the lights are off, when nobody's watching, when nobody's cheering, that's where discipline lives. That's where champions are made. Because discipline isn't about proving something to others. It's about proving something to yourself. It's about saying, I'm not doing this because I feel like it. I'm doing this because I said I would. That's power. That's self-respect. That's legacy. So stop chasing the feeling. Chase the standard. Build the habits. Keep your promises. Push through the pain. Because motivation will get you to the gym, but discipline will keep you there. Motivation will get you to write the first chapter, but discipline will finish the book. Motivation will get you started on your dream, but discipline will make that dream real. And when it's all said and done, when people look at your life, they won't see your feelings. They'll see your discipline. They'll see the work, the consistency, the commitment. That's how legacies are built, not on fleeting inspiration, but on unshakable discipline. You will never reach greatness if you're afraid to fail. You'll never discover your true potential if you keep playing it safe. Listen to me. Failure is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. You've been programmed to fear loss, to hide from mistakes, to stay in your comfort zone where it's warm and safe. But the truth is, that comfort is costing you your destiny. Every person who has ever left a legacy, every name you admire, every success story you look up to, they all failed more times than most people even tried. Stop running from failure. Stop seeing it as the end. Failure is the beginning of wisdom. It's the beginning of growth. You can't learn how to win until you first learn how to lose with humility. The world doesn't remember the person who quit after one setback. It remembers the one who fell 100 times but got up 101. Failure builds muscle. It builds character. It sharpens your instincts. Every rejection, every mistake, every disappointment, it's training you for something greater. You think you failed because you weren't good enough? No, you failed because life was preparing you. Life was testing your resilience, testing how bad you really want it. When you fall and get up, you show life that you're serious. You show the universe that you can handle what's coming next. Because the truth is, success is heavy. Legacy is heavy. And if you can't handle small failures, how will you carry the weight of greatness? Don't let failure break you. Let it shape you. When things fall apart, don't fall apart with them. Step back, reflect, and ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? Maybe it's teaching you patience. Maybe it's teaching you humility. Maybe it's showing you that your plan isn't perfect and that it's time to pivot. You're not losing, you're learning. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is not talent. It's how they handle failure. Some people fail once and quit. They say, it wasn't meant to be. Others fail and say, let's go again. They analyze, they adjust, they adapt. They fail forward. They understand that every failure carries a seed of success, and that seed only grows when you water with persistence. You've got to be bold enough to mess up, strong enough to learn from it, and wise enough to keep moving forward. Look, failure hurts. I'm not going to lie to you. It stings. It crushes your ego. It makes you doubt yourself. But that pain, that's part of the process. The pain is proof that you care. The pain is proof that you're pushing your limits. You can't grow without stretching. You can't stretch without discomfort. Every scar, every bruise, every sleepless night is a receipt for your success. So stop crying about the pain and start using it as fuel. When you fall, fall forward, fall in the direction of your dream. Don't fall backward into excuses or fear. If you fail an exam, study harder. If your business collapses, rebuild it stronger. If your relationship ends, learn what went wrong and become better. Failure doesn't define you. Your response does. You are not your mistakes. You are the lessons you take from them. You see, failure is a mirror. It shows you who you really are. It exposes your weaknesses and reveals your strengths. It shows you what you need to improve. Without it, you'd walk blind into every opportunity. Failure gives you sight. It opens your eyes to the truth about your grind, your habits, your mindset. That's why you can't avoid it. You need it. It's part of your evolution. Think about it. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before creating the light bulb. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper because he lacked imagination. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. But none of them quit. They used their failures as building blocks. Every no brought them closer to a yes. Every setback became a setup for a comeback. You can't write a success story without failuring. When you look at your failures, don't say, why me? Say, try me. Tell life you hit me once, but I'm still standing. Because every time you get back up, you're proving something, not to the world, but to yourself. You're proving that you're unbreakable. You're proving that your dream is worth the fight. You're proving that your legacy is stronger than your pain. Stop looking at failure as punishment and start seeing it as preparation. Failure is feedback. It's life saying, not yet, not never, not impossible, just not yet. That means you got more work to do. That means you got more growing to do. It's like lifting weights. When the muscle tears, it grows back stronger. Failure is that tear. It's the stretching of your potential. It's the breaking of your limits. But here's the problem. Most people let failure stop them instead of strengthen them. They take one L and think it's over. They start believing the lies, the lie that they're not smart enough, not talented enough, not lucky enough. But I'm here to tell you, it's not luck, it's legacy. You don't need luck when you've got hustle. You don't need blessings when you've got belief. Stop waiting for easy wins and start embracing hard lessons. The most powerful people in history are not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who refuse to quit. Every great inventor, artist, leader, and entrepreneur has a story of failure. What makes them great is that they never let those failures define them. They turn their pain into power, their wounds into wisdom. And you can do the same. So the next time you fall, don't stay on the ground. Wipe your face, take a deep breath, and rise again. Look at your scars and say, this is proof I'm still fighting. Every failure means you tried. Every loss means you were in the game. And if you keep showing up, sooner or later, the game will reward you. Stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. You don't know how many times they failed before they made it. You don't know the nights they cried, the times they almost quit, the sacrifices they made. You just see the highlight reel. You see the glory, but not the grind. Stop envying the results and start embracing the process. You've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You've got to train your mind to see failure as growth. Every failure is data. Every mistake is direction. You're not going backward. You're collecting information for your comeback. When you fail, write it down, study it, reflect on it, use it. That's how you evolve. That's how you level up. And remember this, failure doesn't make you a loser. Quitting does. Falling doesn't mean you're weak. Staying down does. You can fail 1,000 times and still win if you don't give up. Every time you rise after falling, you're closer to your destiny. You're closer to your legacy. You can't build a legacy without losses. You can't reach greatness without getting your hands dirty. You can't win big if you're afraid to lose small. So fail fast, fail hard, fail forward, because the only real failure is the one where you stop trying. So today, I want you to make a decision. Stop being afraid. Stop hiding behind fear. Stop protecting your ego. Step into the arena. Take the shot. Write the book. Launch the business. Start the journey. You're going to fall. It's guaranteed. But every time you get back up, you're building a legacy of resilience, strength, and courage. Your legacy won't be defined by how many times you succeeded. It'll be defined by how many times you refuse to quit. So go ahead, fail forward. Learn, grow, and keep grinding, because the truth is, failure doesn't destroy dreams. All we fear does. When you're gone, what will they say about you? When your name is spoken years from now, what will it represent? Will people remember you for what you built, what you gave, what you stood for? Or will your story fade into the background like so many who never dared to make an impact? You've got one shot at this life, one opportunity to create something that outlives your heartbeat. And yet too many people are wasting it chasing moments instead of meaning. You weren't born just to survive, just to exist. You were born to leave a mark. You were born to leave behind a legacy that echoes long after you're gone. Legacy isn't about money. It's not about cars, clothes, or followers. Those things fade. Those things rust, get replaced, get forgotten. Legacy is what you build in people, not just what you build in places. It's the lessons you leave behind, the lives you touch, the hearts you change. When Eric Thomas talks about legacy, he's talking about something that lives on in the minds of those you've impacted. It's about creating something so powerful that when people mention your name, they don't just remember who you were. They remember what you stood for. Too many people are waiting for some perfect moment to make it. They say, one day I'll do something great, but that one day never comes because they never start. The truth is, you build your legacy in the ordinary moments. Every decision you make, every habit you form, every time you show up when others don't. That's how legacy is built. It's not built overnight. It's built every night. It's built in discipline, in sacrifice, in small, consistent actions that the world may never see until one day the results are undeniable. Ask yourself, if you died tomorrow, what would people say about you today? Would they say you were kind, disciplined, a hard worker? Or would they say you were lazy, bitter, and full of excuses? Every day you live, you're writing a chapter in your story. You may not be able to control how it starts, but you have full power over how it ends. You have the choice to turn your pain into purpose, your struggle into strength, and your time into transformation. See, legacy isn't just about success. It's about significance. Success is about you. Significance is about others. Success ends when you die. Significance continues. That's why you have to stop living like your time is unlimited. You don't know how much time you've got left. Stop wasting your days scrolling through other people's stories and start writing your own. Stop talking about your dreams and start living them. Stop being a fan of greatness and start building your own version of it. The world doesn't need another average person. It needs you to step up, to shine, to lead, to create. You've got something inside of you that the world hasn't seen yet. A gift that's been buried under fear, doubt, and procrastination. But the clock is ticking. Legacy isn't waiting for you. It's begging you to move. You keep waiting for opportunity, but opportunity is waiting for you to wake up and take ownership of your purpose. Think about the people who came before you. Maybe your parents struggled so you could have more. Maybe your grandparents worked hard, sacrificed everything, and prayed for you to live a better life. Don't let their sacrifices go to waste. Don't live small when others bled for your freedom to dream big. Honor them by doing something with your life. Legacy isn't just about what you do for yourself. It's about lifting others, breaking cycles, setting new standards, and opening doors that were once locked. Every generation has a torchbearer, someone who decides to carry the fire forward. You can be that person. You can be the one who breaks the curse, who changes the narrative, who sets a new tone for your family, your community, your future. But that requires courage. It requires a willingness to stand alone, to be misunderstood, to grind while others rest, and to keep going when nobody claps. Because legacy isn't built in comfort. It's built in commitment. When you wake up each morning, ask yourself, what am I building today? You can't create legacy with laziness. You can't create legacy with excuses. You can't build something that lasts if you're only working when it feels good. Legacy requires you to show up when you're tired, to keep going when it's painful, and to believe even when you don't see results. It's about planting seeds you may never see grow, but knowing that generations after you will eat from the trees you planted. Some people live for the weekend, others live for the applause, but those who leave legacies live for purpose. They live for the difference they can make. They're not motivated by likes or validation. They're driven by impact. They understand that true greatness isn't measured by how high you climb, but by how many people you lift as you rise. You've got to ask yourself, what am I doing with my gifts? Am I just using them to make a living, or am I using them to make a difference? There's nothing wrong with wanting comfort or success, but if that's all you chase, you'll miss the deeper reason you were created. Legacy is about contribution, not consumption. You can spend your life chasing pleasure, or you can invest your life in purpose. One fades fast, the other lasts forever. Think about the names that still live centuries after they died. Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela. These people didn't have perfect lives. They had painful ones. But they didn't waste that pain. They turned it into purpose. They didn't wait for opportunities. They created them. They didn't live for themselves. They lived for something bigger. That's what legacy looks like. And you don't have to be famous to create it. You can build legacy in your family, in your school, in your city, wherever you are. Maybe you're thinking, but I'm just one person. What difference can I make? Let me tell you something. You are one person, but one person can spark a movement. One voice can inspire a generation. One act of courage can change the course of history. Stop underestimating the power of your influence. You don't have to have millions of followers to change the world. You just have to have the courage to start. When you live with purpose, people remember. When you lead with love, people talk. When you stand for something, people listen. You might not get recognition today, but one day your work will speak for itself. Legacy is silent work. It's the behind the scenes grind that no one notices until years later when your impact is undeniable. That's why you've got to stay consistent even when nobody's watching. You've got to stop being afraid of dying with your dreams still inside you. You've got to stop living like you've got forever. Every day is a gift, and every breath is a reminder that your time is running out. So use it wisely. Stop making excuses. Stop blaming your circumstances. Stop saying one day. That day is today. Start small. Take action. Build something meaningful. Because if you don't write your own story, someone else will write it for you. And trust me, it won't sound the same. Legacy is not built in a moment. It's built in a lifetime. It's built in every person you help, every challenge you overcome, every act of kindness you give without expecting anything in return. You don't have to change the whole world, but you can change your world. And when enough people change their world, that's when real transformation happens. So stop living like your name doesn't matter. It does. Stop thinking your story doesn't count. It does. Every person has the power to leave something behind. The only question is, what will yours be? Will you leave behind excuses or excellence? Complaints or contribution? Regret or results? You've got to decide right here, right now, that you're going to live in such a way that when you're gone, people will say, because of them, I didn't give up. Because of them, I believed again. Because of them, I became more. That's legacy. That's purpose. That's why you're here. So stop waiting for opportunity. Stop chasing temporary wins. Start building something that lasts forever. Every word you speak, every move you make, every life you touch, it all matters. Your time is now. The world is watching. Go out there and create your legacy. Everybody wants to shine, but nobody wants to grind. Everybody wants to be remembered, but nobody wants to do the work when the cameras are off and no one's cheering. You talk about wanting a legacy. You talk about wanting success, but are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to grind when it hurts, when it's lonely, when there's no guarantee that what you're doing will even work out? That's the difference between dreamers and doers. That's what Eric Thomas means when he says, grind now, shine later, because the world doesn't reward what you say you want. It rewards what you work for. See, you want to shine now. You want the recognition, the applause, the followers, the comfort, but you can't shine without the shadows. You can't skip the process and expect the prize. The grind is ugly. It's early mornings and late nights. It's saying no to comfort, no to distractions, no to instant pleasure. It's doing the same thing over and over, perfecting your craft while others are out wasting time. You can't microwave success. It's slow cooked in consistency, discipline, and hunger. When Eric Thomas says grind now, he means sacrifice. It means while they're sleeping, you're working. While they're talking, you're producing. While they're partying, you're planning. You can't have both comfort and greatness. You've got to choose. You've got to be willing to miss out on temporary fun to gain permanent respect. You've got to be willing to walk away from average if you ever want to be extraordinary. There's no shortcut to legacy. There's no elevator to success. You've got to take the stairs, step by step, sweat by sweat. You can't skip days. You can't skip lessons, and you can't skip the struggle. The struggle is the foundation of greatness. Every sleepless night, every setback, every no you hear, it's all part of the grind. That's what builds resilience, character, and hunger. You've got to be willing to do the work that nobody sees to get results that everybody wants. You want to know why so many people fail? Because they want the shine without the grind. They want the crown without carrying the cross. They want the victory without the fight. But the shine comes after the sacrifice. You've got to bleed before you blossom. You've got to hustle before you harvest. You've got to stay committed long after the excitement wears off. Because motivation might get you started, but discipline keeps you going when it gets hard. It's easy to say you want it. It's easy to talk about your dreams, but talk doesn't build legacy. Work does. You can't tweet your way to success. You can't post your way to legacy. You've got to do the hard stuff, the lonely mornings, the exhausting nights, the grind that no one claps for. You've got to grind when it's raining, when you're tired, when you feel like giving up. That's when your legacy is being written, not in your comfort, but in your commitment. Every great story has a season of struggle. Look at any legend, any world changer, any person who built something that lasted. They all went through a grind season. Michael Jordan didn't just show up great. He was in the gym when no one was watching. Steve Jobs didn't build Apple overnight. He spent years being rejected, ridiculed, and ignored. Every entrepreneur, athlete, and leader you admire, there was a time when no one believed in them, when they had to believe in themselves. That's the grind. That's the now. So you've got to make peace with the process. You've got to fall in love with the journey, not just the destination. You've got to learn to enjoy the work, the sweat, the failure, because that's what separates you from the crowd. Most people quit when it gets hard. Most people stop when they get tired. But if you want to shine later, you've got to keep going now. You've got to keep pushing even when you're not getting results, even when no one notices. The grind tests you. It exposes you. It shows you what you're made. When everything's going wrong and you still keep moving, that's when you become dangerous. That's when you stop being average. That's when you start stepping into your greatness. The grind refines you, humbles you, and strengthens you. It builds the version of you that can handle the success that's coming. Because if you can't handle the grind, you won't be able to handle the glory. You say you want a legacy? Then show me the grind. Show me your morning. Show your habits. Show me your focus. Don't tell me what you want. Show me what you're willing to suffer for. Because the grind is not glamorous. It's not pretty. It's not posted. But it's the only path that leads to greatness. If you can grind now when it's hard, when it's slow, when it's silent, you'll shine later in ways people can't even imagine. Too many people give up in the middle. They start strong, but they stop when it doesn't go their way. They get frustrated when the results don't show up immediately. But you've got to trust the grind. You've got to trust that the seeds you plant today will grow tomorrow. You might not see the progress, but it's happening. Every rep, every effort, every hour, it's all adding up. Just because the world doesn't see it yet doesn't mean it's not real. And don't think shining is about fame. Shining is about peace. It's about purpose. It's about freedom. When Eric Thomas says, shine later, he's not just talking about money or status. He's talking about living the life you earned, the life you built from blood, sweat, and tears, the life you can be proud of because you didn't cut corners. You didn't cheat the process. You paid full price, and now you get to enjoy the full reward. That's the real shine. But here's the truth. Most people don't make it to that point because they can't handle the waiting. They can't handle the grind. They want quick wins. They want comfort now. But if you get what you want too early, it'll destroy you. You've got to be forged in the fire before you can stand in the light. You've got to go through the process of preparation before you can carry the promise. The grind is that preparation. It's where you learn discipline, humility, patience, and endurance. You can't skip it. You can't outsource it. You can't fake it. You've got to go through it. You've got to wake up every day and make a choice. Am I going to grind or am I going to quit? Am I going to stay consistent or am I going to complain? You've got to choose the grind even when you don't feel like it. Because feelings fade, but legacy stays. Feelings are temporary, but greatness is forever. Let them laugh. Let them doubt you. Let them sleep while you work. Because when the time comes, when your shine finally arrives, they'll wonder how you did it. They'll call you lucky. They'll say it happened overnight, but you'll know the truth. You'll know about the nights you stayed up, the sacrifices you made, the pain you endured. You'll know it wasn't luck. It was the grind. The grind builds something deeper than success. It builds gratitude. When you've worked for something, you value it, you protect it, you honor it. People who don't grind don't appreciate what they have because they didn't pay the price. But when you've been through the struggle, when you've sacrificed everything, the shine means more. The shine feels earned. So don't run from the grind. Don't. Hate the process. Embrace it. Thank it. Because it's shaping you into the person who can handle your destiny. Every tear, every setback, every obstacle, it's all part of your preparation. Grind now, shine later. It's not just a slogan, it's a lifestyle. It's the mindset of every person who ever left a legacy. You've got to be willing to do what others won't today so you can live how others can't tomorrow. That's the trade. That's the deal. The grind now is temporary, but the shine is eternal. So get up earlier, stay up later, push harder, sacrifice longer, because one day you're going to look back at this season of grind and say it was worth it. Every drop of sweat, every sleepless night, every rejection, every loss, worth it. The shine will come. The peace will come. The freedom will come. But not for those who wait, for those who grind. So don't get discouraged. Don't quit. Keep pushing. Keep building. Keep fighting. The pain you feel today is shaping the power you'll walk in tomorrow. Grind now. Shine later. Because legacy doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who work.